Good morning on this brisk Saturday. I thought I'd just come out to my local park and do a little bit of a walk and talk. If it looks vaguely familiar, it's because way back at the start of this channel, it's where I filmed my first video, and I haven't brought the camera out here since then. So I thought, let's do that today. And what I want to talk about today is just give an update on the Seestar S50 smart telescope and what I found about it since. And I want to show you a bit of a gallery of some of the images I've done since having it. So I've had it now for about 6 months. I used it quite heavily for the first maybe 2 months, then it sort of went in the back room for a while. It's recently come out again because I've taken it camping. And the first thing I found is exactly like I hoped. It's really transportable, so it fits really well in my in the footwell of the back seat of my small car, so I can take it camping without a problem. It's great actually for that. And recently, of course, I did that in Barmera. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't great. I only got a few shots, but I think I'll be taking it out a lot more in the future, so looking forward to that. Now, one of the things you might recall is I was incredibly skeptical about the images I was looking at. That is to say, with just a minute or so of work, I took my first images of the Orion Nebula, and I thought, there's no way that something this price could produce something this good. I was so skeptical. I thought, it's just giving me a stock image. It's just some sort of con. So in the introductory video, I even mentioned that I just took a screenshot of, it was just a pixelated screenshot, like a nothing shot, just to bank something, say, hey, I've actually imaged the Orion Nebula. But guess what? It was the real deal, and I hadn't even got started. The potential of the telescope I just hadn't explored at all. I started trying things just to deliberately try and fool it. You know, I'd point it in the wrong direction and got it to go search for things which I knew where they were, the Orion Nebula being one of them, and there it went, locked on, and the image started basically stacking, and I thought, yeah, it's the real deal. My goodness, the optics of this thing are incredible. So there'll be some more shots of the Orion Nebula that I'm going to show you shortly. But naturally, when you're in the constellation of Orion, there's such a lot of things to see, such diversity within that constellation. You know, you naturally start looking at other things. And one of the things I always wanted to go and look at was the Horsehead Nebula, which is a dark nebula. It's a faint object. It's much harder to image, or so I thought. So I point it at the Horsehead Nebula, and very faint, but after a few minutes it starts coming into view, and I got some really, really good images that have been put together over maybe, I'd say it was probably about 1.5 hours worth of work of stacked images. And yeah, I'm looking at it and going, wow, this is like the quality that I would have looked at as a kid in some of the books that were available at the time. One of the things I've really enjoyed is being able to image galaxies. You know, they're so much further away and they're so faint, and yet, you know, with about an hour or so, you see all these little wispy details come into clear view, and you know, you're looking back in time, aren't you? You know, 10, 15 million years ago. That's when the light started coming towards us from them. And yeah, I just think it's really, really cool to be able to do that. And this this telescope has really suitable optics for that. The optics are not so suitable, unfortunately, for planetary observation, but you know, even then, with a little bit of work, you can see the north and south equatorial belts of Jupiter, the Great Red Spot. But if you want to do anything more crisp than that, you're going to have to get a telescope and imaging equipment that's specifically designed for planetary observation. Of course, with recent interest returning to the moon, you know, the Artemis 2 spacecraft going around the moon recently, I've been looking at the moon a little bit, and I've managed to take some better images of that. With any luck, I'll be able to get some good stuff from the Flinders in upcoming trips, assuming we have some clear skies. But until then, here's just a few images from the first 6 months.